what I wanna, innovate what I'm gonna. You can hate all you wanna, but you're still in your pajama. Now I ain't a prima donna, but I built what I wanna. You can say my vision's wrong, the tune of my song. Broke my thumb, bang into my own drum. Broke my thumb, bang into my own drum. Broke my thumb, bang into my own drum. Hootin' and clapping, boots I am a strapping, a click click clacking. Hurrah! Bootstrapping in America. Yeah, bootstrapping in America.
Right now is the most disruptive time in the history of information technology. It has implications not just for the IT industry, but for business as a whole. What we call IT is rapidly shifting from second to third platform. Mobile, social, cloud, big data. These trends have extended the enterprise to places never before thought possible. Employees and customers are demanding these new IT capabilities, but enterprise IT is struggling to deliver. Businesses who close the gap between demand and delivery are winning bigger than ever before, and those that don't are being left behind. Unfortunately, current IT providers aren't equipped and frankly don't have the right perspective for this rapid shift to a new paradigm. That's why we created Elovate, a new type of IT partner. Our mission is to help businesses elevate their delivery to meet demand by innovating their approach to IT. Brand new technology.
Thomas, I'm back, my friend. Bootstrapping in America.
Elovate. Alan Dorrian, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Welcome to Tasty Trade.
Thank you. Well,
I liked the little ad you did there.
thank you.
So you had an interesting story when you first walked in.
Yes, that's how you and I had met in previously. And
I
Not
did
in
not-
previous life.
no, no, no.
Like that, right? No.
No.
How you and I had met previously. So
Yes.
you were a Thinkorswim user.
I was, right? And so I had known you because I had taken a class at a pretty big audience, so we hadn't met at the time.
Okay.
So I knew who you were.
Okay.
And you were going out to an InvestTools conference in Las Vegas,
Okay.
and I was going out to an EMC conference, which is a product that we sold at the time. And we were in the Southwest line, and I had A1 and you had A2.
Damn, that pissed me off.
You know how much you could have gotten for that A1?
Beth,
Had
God
we
damn it,
known.
Beth! I told her.
And you made note of that at the time, that you were not all that happy that you had A2 and I had A1. So we're both
And you were a stranger to me.
Absolutely. We didn't know each other. I knew you were. You didn't know who I was, and we're both big guys, so we knew we wanted that aisle, the seat in Southwest. So we both went back there and sat in the same aisle, and I introduced myself, and we started chit-chatting a little bit about what you were doing and what we were doing. And
That is so
yes,
funny.
Yes.
Alan, the story is you won.
Yeah.
You didn't go up the seat, right?
I did not.
You won.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than being A2. Like, I'd rather be A6.
You might, as well, you might as well be B2.
You might as well be
because
B2.
You get a seat you want anyway if you're not
If you're going to pay extra and you're not A1, it doesn't make any sense. You might as well be C. That's
Right.
exactly right.
And I had been a long time listener to Tasty Trade as well, and
That's
it was
awesome.
referenced on air, and I'm like, he can't be talking about me.
Oh, yeah,
so,
he was.
Yeah, so
I used to
Nothing
bitch. I used to
more.
bitch Beth I bitch out all the time. I'm like, how can I not be A1? Like, I'm like, whatever.
absolutely, yeah.
Those long flights, those long Southwest flights, they're
You want that extra room.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
All
Well,
right.
it's good to see you again. And thank you so much for
In
coming.
a different
Absolutely.
circumstance,
Yes.
actually, knowing who you are this time
Right.
and what you're up to, even though I need a little more explanation on Elovate. What do you got?
Okay. We are what we'll call a next generation data center infrastructure integrator, and helping clients navigate between the traditional data center in the enterprise
Right.
and then also moving toward the cloud. And you hear the cloud, and you kind of know it's too prolific a word now.
Yeah.
Everyone just knows that cloud. Their Apple stores their photos or their tunes out there. But in the enterprise, it's enterprises are trying to figure out should they be in the cloud or not. And so this is a challenging time. The data center and all the technology is completely upside down. So what we're doing is we're working with enterprise clients to help them navigate and see where they should be in the cloud, what they should do with their current data center, and help them make sense of this transition that's happening now.
I mean, in the world of finance, in fintech where we live, obviously, because we built a lot of technology, we live in both places.
Right.
And it is confusing.
Right.
I don't think it's confusing to our dev team, but I think it's confusing to me personally to really understand. You know, when we built the Thinkorswim platform years ago, it was pretty easy. We were in a data center.
Right.
The cloud didn't really exist.
Exactly.
Today, the world's very different, and
Right.
the good news is it's a lot less. It looks less expensive to scale.
That's one
But
of
it
the
looks-
that's one
it
of maybe the
looks less
dirty little
expensive.
secrets of the cloud. One of the things you want to accomplish with the cloud is reduce your cost.
Yeah.
But it's also it's a metered service, which
Yeah.
means as you consume more, your prices go up.
Sure.
So people aren't always realizing the cost savings that they thought they were going to get with the cloud. And again, we can wrap some
I think
cost.
it's a hardware savings. The more you, I mean, is it more hardware savings?
Well, people don't want to be in the infrastructure business.
That's right.
So what they do is then they want to move that out to the cloud. But you still have applications running. You still have someone else's infrastructure in the cloud.
Yeah.
And as you consume more, your bill goes up more. So you might have had an initial CapEx reduction and
Yeah.
shifted it to an OpEx. But when that OpEx goes from $50,000 a month to $150,000 a month, and you don't know how or why, you're okay. You want to get a handle on that?
So we
You're
should
talking
just look
about
at
operating expenses.
We should just look at
Exactly.
Amazon stock price to determine how much money how much this is costing
I
us.
think Jeff Bezos, I think, is a genius.
Well, he's beyond genius,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
he
he's-
wins that.
Jeff Bezos, he changed the landscape, and so what he did was he changed the how quickly services could be turned up.
Right.
And so what that did is that even if you say I'm not going to go to the cloud, even our message, I've gone to several of our clients, billion-dollar size companies, and they're like, Alan, your message is too advanced for us. We're not going to the cloud. I'm like, first of all, you're already there, even if you don't know it,
Right.
and that's shadow IT, and that's another discussion. But with Bezos's
What do you mean by shadow IT? Just so we
Well,
know.
here-
Yeah, give me an example.
Here's what a shadow IT is.
Yeah.
The enterprise IT breaks down into two categories: application software and infrastructure. Now, there's more component parts than that, but that's primarily it. Right. Application software lines up with lines of business, and has time to market, and so they want to get out to market with new apps all the time.
Right.
Infrastructure is where it all happens and tends to be the constraint. So application goes to infrastructure and says, I need software out in 30 days. I need infrastructure tomorrow so I can roll out this software. Infrastructure says, yeah, I'll get you infrastructure in 30 days. There's a clear disconnect. Application says, no, I get line of business credit card. I go out to Amazon. I swipe it. I've got services up in 24 hours. Now I've got shadow IT. Now I've got IT happening outside the constraints of the infrastructure team.
Yeah.
And there's risk, there's compliance. Also, the application people, they don't right size with the services they're buying, and in 30 days, they might not even turn off the services that they bought. So you really need to kind of get a handle on all that, and you need to get infrastructure and application together. And so that's another thing we do, and you do that with different software products, orchestration tools, and tools that can marry the two sides together.
Got it. Fascinating stuff. And so how did you end up here in this direction? Because that seems like a little bit of a crooked path.
Right. Well, I've been in the IT industry for a while. I started a company here in Chicago in 2002. It was called Integrated Data Storage. Now it goes by IDS.
Okay.
We grew it, became a Crane's Fast 50 company. We had nice success. And I had a little bit of a different outlook on the market than a partner that I had.
Okay.
And so the easy way out was for me to separate out of that company, even though it was I enjoyed it. I started it. We had a great run. But as I was looking out at the marketplace in the future, I'm like, what's missing? Because this traditional IDC, who's in our industry, calls it second platform. That's why we reference it in our commercial. That traditional data center is completely in upheaval. All the big iron, you've seen recently Dell and EMC came together.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So EMC was the traditional leader in that data center. Well, those multi-million-dollar purchases in the data center in that second platform are all being reevaluated. So I wasn't the only one to see it, but I saw it from an integration and integrator standpoint that there was a gap and people needed help navigating out to that third platform.
So who are your customers? I mean, they're like mid-size?
I'd call it the upper end of mid-market and the lower end of enterprise. So companies between $500 million to $2.5 to $5 billion. Right. Once you get up to the size of a United Airlines, they've got their own staff and their own team. But in that mid-market, there's a lot of need and a lot of advice and counseling and things that we can do for them.
And I would assume that there's other people in the playground. So how are you a software platform, or is it like more just hands-on consulting?
Good question. Yes, there are the other people out there providing some sort of services would be the traditional second platform integrators,
Right.
which I think they're a little bit behind the game.
Okay.
Then we'll have some people, I'll call them born in the cloud, and those would be people like out of the West Coast, like Cloud Sherpa or Second Watch, and these people are application development only. So if you're a new company and you want to develop apps, so like put everything out in the cloud. Well, that's fantastic, but that's all their view is. Let's just say I move half of my apps and infrastructure to the cloud. What do I do with my legacy data center? That's you still need to run these in parallel for quite some time. So we think we're uniquely positioned because we know we come from the plumbing and we know how it works. Yeah. Plus we know how to advise companies and look at their applications and decide what goes out to the cloud. So I would say I think we're uniquely positioned.
When you look at the marketplace right now and you think, because you know what we do obviously, and you have an insider understanding of what I think is a fascinating space. When you look at the listed marketplace and you look at some of the very liquid underlyings, who's on top of this game that's a tradable I'm not saying who do you like or anything like that, but who's on top of this that's where there's tradable underlyings? Is there anybody that comes to mind?
Well, in IT, there's multiple different categories. So in the software, obviously,
what's most interesting to you?
Well, AWS is the 800-pound gorilla now. Amazon Web Services. Microsoft's making a very strong play with their Azure platform. Mm-hmm. But the impact of AWS when they didn't release what their numbers were for the AWS compared to the entire Amazon, and people were on them, tell us what your numbers are. I think people were genuinely shocked at how well that business was doing. Yeah. So that's a strong company. Then there's a lot of underlying next generation data center products, like Pure Storage is a publicly traded company.
So you don't see the data centers going away by any stretch then?
No, it's I'm in the cloud. That's and right. I'm in the data center. There's very few, like here in Chicago, there's companies like Groupon and Uptake, and there's a lot of these next gen software companies. They can go right out to the cloud and they can be born in the cloud and they can have 95% of their infrastructure in the cloud. But most legacy companies that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years, and they've got legacy software and thousands of applications, you just can't go pick that up and just go move that to the cloud.
From what I understand, just from talking to our tech guys, after the meltdown in 2008, 2009, when a lot of these data center companies just kind of blew up.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the whole space just imploded. I mean, they were trading
right.
for pennies on the dollar
right.
of whatever costs were. They've been slow to rebuild.
Right.
And so now, according to our tech guys, it's like, their space is at a huge premium, and it's hard to find.
Right, and that ebbs and flows. So there was, and that's the data center real estate business, and that's rack. We call rack and power. Okay. So you need space. And
that's what I meant. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
So right. So those. So a lot of telco companies are in that space. There's some newer facilities here in the Chicago area. Right. That's a highly capitalized. I'm not sure how many of those are publicly traded.
Just a couple.
Yeah. But even if you're in the private markets, a lot of money to build out a big data center. So that's a whole other part of the marketplace. We're not necessarily in that space. We're a consumer of rack and power.
Consumer of rack and power. Got it. So that's where the well, I understand. I kind of get the bigger picture right now. So you're a small company in Chicago in an innovative space, and definitely, I don't see that space turning around ever.
Right.
I mean, just going to explode. But how do you go out and get customers? I mean, you're challenged on every.
Exactly. Well, this is part of starting a new business, and the level of effort and the inertia that's needed to push out into the marketplace is quite substantial. But previous histories, I came from the copier industry, so we used to knock on doors back in the old days. I used to teach the cold calling class in the copier industry. So
you can sell copiers, man. You can sell anything.
Thank you. Yeah. So I know how to pick up the phone and dial. So we're not afraid to generate our business. business, as well as we partner with the different manufacturers. We do more advanced things like LinkedIn marketing. We have some.
Tony used to sell jeans out of the back of his car. So
Is there a place for me?
Absolutely.
If you could sell jeans out of the back of your Dodge Diplomat or whatever it was at the time, you can.
Chrysler Cordoba.
Chrysler Cordoba.
That's old school.
can do that. You can sell anything.
Knocking on doors, knives, pots and pans.
Sure.
Those were they're tough to
alleys.
People don't
Wherever it
realize
took.
when we were kids, like that was one of the jobs you get when you're in college.
Sure.
You could go door to door and sell knives.
Absolutely, and you could make money doing that, and so and you learn skills that you can take with you.
Yeah. I think you did a nice job with your logo and your just the branding. I think it looks good.
Thank you.
And I like that commercial too that you put on it first. That was nice.
Thank you. I know I've watched your show a few times, and I know you're into the graphics and the branding and what people do.
Well, I think it's important because it's kind of a message that about what about what your company's about, how you look at how you approach the way your company is perceived by people that are just even looking at you. I think the message is you got to get to the right person.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing.
Well, that's another challenge too. Is the traditional data center infrastructure person is not necessarily the person making decisions now. So we're up having conversations in the application space that we weren't traditionally in.
It's always the most difficult thing about small companies is getting to the right person.
Absolutely, and I know when we're out with our message, based on the questions that I get, where people say, "Are you doing consulting? Are you infrastructure? Are you software?" And that helps us kind of hone our message. So we're kind of in an in-between place, and we need to have a message that can span that, and so people can understand.
Alan, if somebody wants to check you guys out and go to Elovate, where would they go?
They go to elovate.tech, and that's with an O, so ELOVATE.tech. Right.
Got it. .tech. I haven't heard anybody using .tech yet.
Well, we didn't own .com. I own .net, .io, and so .tech is one of the suffixes out there now.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Elovate.tech. And what if they want to reach out to you?
They can reach me at 312-343-9430, or they can also go to Elovate, and you can reach me through the website as well.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, both.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We got Liz and Jenny next. This is Taste Straight Live.
Perfect.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click below to watch more videos, subscribe to our channel, and if you want to trade along with us, visit tastytrade.com.